Well, that was something else, Mark, wasn't it? I mean, we knew that was coming because they did it last year at the Confederations Cup, to sing on after the anthem. But in modern parlance, Chris, I was blown away by that. I thought that was really, really special.
Now, we were stood there with headphones on. I saw you take yours off, so I thought, I wonder why. And when I took them off, I couldn't believe the noise. Absolutely. If you want any incentive, there you go.
Well, this really is what it's all about. We're in Sao Paulo here. The sun's shining. We're in a stadium full of Brazil yellow shirts. And the 24 World Cup is about to begin. It's nearly here. It's nearly here. It's all lying in front of us. It's a delicious time. Who knows who is going to be successful? Who knows who's going to fail? Who knows what the stories are going to be? We're just waiting to find out. And it's a beautiful evening. It's winter time, of course. Doesn't feel like it. The sun is shining. We've got blue sky above. The grey skies that we've had most of the week in Sao Paulo have disappeared for the big day. We had the opening ceremony inside the stadium, which was bright and colourful. To me, the real opening ceremony was when we drove in the back streets around the ground before the game and saw the atmosphere and what people were feeling on the streets. And the players are just gathering now around the centre circle, and the referee, the Japanese official, is also gathering everyone together, and there will be a moment now to, in FIFA talk, share a message of peace, tolerance and respect for human rights, united in spirit with all players, officials and fans around the world. What's going to happen now is that three young children dressed in white t-shirts, white shorts and white socks are walking into the centre circle and turning towards us now and looking towards the dressing rooms side of this Sao Paulo stadium, and all three of them are holding in their hands a dove, and now they release them, and the three white doves soar into the sky and begin to wheel round as well inside the arena, and off they go up into the sky above the stadium, and the players still standing around the centre circle, and now are sent away to begin their final preparations. Well, if you are even remotely into football, World Cups are very special times in our lives, and I hope you're going to enjoy the comprehensive coverage that we'll bring you on 5 Live over the course of the next month. It is Croatia who will kick off. I'll run you through the teams again in full once we get underway. But the referee, the Japanese referee, Yuichi Nishimura, is poised and ready to start. And Brazil is ready for the big kick-off. And off we go. The 2014 World Cup has begun. The 20th World Cup, and it involves, here in Brazil, the record 5 times winners. Joint record 7 times in the final. Brazil in the yellow shirts, blue shorts and white socks against the red and white checked shirts of Brazil, and immediately David Luiz is in with a very, he got the ball, but he also took the man there in centre field and has volleyed it out of play here on the left-hand side for Croatia. In this first half, Croatia playing from right to left. The Brazilian team, Julio Cesar, Dani Alves, Thiago Silva, David Luiz and Marcelo, Paulinho and Luis Gustavo, Hulk, Oscar, Neymar and Fred. And now a shot from 25 yards or so, maybe not quite that, from Kovacic, the young Kovacic, but he dragged it well wide and behind for a goal kick. And the Croatia team, Pletikosa in goal, the captain Cerner at right back, Choluka and Lovren of Southampton of course, Versaliko at left back, midfield of Modric and Rakitic with Kovacic pushing forward, Olic and Perisic in the wide positions, and in the absence of the suspended Mandzukic, it is Jelavic of Hull City who is up front. So Brazil 0, Croatia 0. And here's Dani Alves on the right-hand side. Dani Alves with his head down. 3 Croatian players arrive. Dani Alves gets the cross in, but it's headed away on the edge of the penalty area. And eventually it's deflected out of play for a throw-in to Brazil here on the right. Dani Alves takes it quickly. And now we see the first little piece of skill from Neymar. And delightful it was too. And Brazil just play it back towards the halfway line after the Brazilian number 10 got his first touch of this World Cup. So much had expected of him. So Brazil go back into their own half. Chris Waddle is here with us inside the stadium, the Sao Paulo World Cup Stadium. Chris, a key part of our 5 Live World Cup team, having played for England in 2 World Cups. And Brazil with David Luiz in possession. We'll get a word from Chris on a moment on the opening exchanges. But here's Thiago Silva now, the Paris Saint-Germain and Brazil captain. Paulinho of Tottenham drops back into his own half and gives it to the David Luiz. The Brazilian noise swirls around the ground as I think the sun now just dips towards the horizon. It's just after 5 o'clock Brazilian time. And Thiago Silva then back into centre field to Luis Gustavo. And Luis Gustavo now just steers a ball to Dani Alves. Has to be patient, Croatia, with Brazil in possession in the early stages. Now here's Oscar on the right, but Oscar's pass infield is cut out and it's brought forward on this left-hand side by Olic, who tried to swing a pass infield. It bounced back to him. Olic now off down the left wing. Olic is crossing to the penalty area. David Luiz was there to steer a volley away.
Well, Olic did ever so well from halfway line up to 25 yards from the byline, really on this left hand side. Decent ball Luiz did with it. As I thought it would pan out, Croatia's dropped very deep. They're not pressing the ball high. They're saying the Brazilian can have it. Neymar's basically wandering around everywhere. Oscar's playing on the right wing. Neymar's just going where he wants at the minute, but they're playing very slow, which has given Croatia time to get a good shape. Yes, it was straightened already.
It was a feature, Chris, wasn't it, of the Confederations Cup, the way that Brazil came out. A little bit like Liverpool this last Premier League season, one of the secrets of their success. But it's more patient today, and I suppose understandably so in the circumstances. In this very open, very airy stadium, which of course has been newly built. It's been well catalogued, the fact that in actual fact it hasn't been properly finished. The builders said they will only finish it after the World Cup. I think part of the roof is still to be completed. But 68, almost 70,000 people inside the ground, and predominantly the colour is Brazilian yellow, and it is Brazil in possession in front of their own penalty area. Here it's rolled forward towards Luis Gustavo, now out towards Marcelo, who, as well as everything else, Marcelo celebrates his birthday today. He's 26. Marcelo's ball down the left-hand side, and that's a heavy challenge on Hulk, and that's given us a free kick to Brazil on the left-hand side.
Well, they've just run into each other. They're both focused on the ball. Hulk's trying to get a straight going, and he's just focused on the ball. Unfortunately, he has caught his head, but he's also bundled Hulk over, and it's a free kick in a very, very dangerous position.
Hulk as well, still holding his shoulder there, just fallen awkwardly on it, and he's putting his left hand up to the top of his shoulder, and I think he's just signalled there that he is okay, but it was quite a heavy fall after sure look at basically clumsily fell into it. So it's a free kick for Brazil on the left, with almost 5 minutes played. A gentle zephyr just blowing around the inside of the stadium, and the delivery will either be a right-footed in-swinger. Thiago Silva has come up from the back. Fred, of course, is there, the number 9, just near the penalty spot. Croatia holding their line. Marcelo with the free kick towards the back post. Thiago Silva heads it back across. David Luiz is there with the header, but in amongst a crowd of Croatian players, couldn't get any power on it, and it bounced down and up for Pletikos at a hole.
Decent delivery, good pace on it, far post, heads it back across the goal. David Luiz is getting challenged by 2. And you look, as Brazil said, they have got some big players who set pieces will play a big part, but Brazil need to get that first goal, because so far Croatia are just frustrating.
So 0-0, Brazil 0, Croatia 0. This is BBC 5 Live here in Brazil, here in Sao Paulo, and the open nature of this stadium means that we can see out of the corners. If you've been to the Dragão in Porto, it's not unlike that. So we can see the sprawling city of Sao Paulo, all of those hundreds, possibly thousands, possibly even hundreds of thousands of tower blocks stretching away into the distance. And inside the stadium here, it is Brazil who have dominated, as you would probably have expected, the early possession. Ball played out towards the left-hand side, and then Marcelo is there. Marcelo then chips it back out to Thiago Silva, who will take it down on the top of his right thigh. All of the Croatian players back inside their own half. As Thiago Silva tried to find Neymar, but it was nicked back, and now here is Modric. Modric, who looks rather unfamiliar now with his hair shorn, plays the ball forward down the right-hand side, where Perisic will cross towards the back post, and Olic heads it wide. That was so close. Maybe a foot wide. Maybe not even that. Olic got up, beat his man, but couldn't direct it on target.
That was just a wonderful cross from that right-hand side with his left foot. I've got to say, he does everything right by the target. He gets up high, he gets above Dani Alves, he heads it into the ground, which you want him to do, but it's a good yard wide, and we'll have seen a replay. He's put his hands on his head, and he knows that is a glorious chance early in this game.
Great cross from Perisic on the right-hand side. Perisic starting on the right and Olic on the left. But he really wrapped his foot around that, and Olic so close to giving Croatia a short lead. And now Marcelo has been fouled by Perisic on that far side. David Luiz tried to take the free kick quickly. He did take the free kick quickly, and he took it straight into the back of Luis Gustavo's head, who was 3 yards away.
It was a good back pass, though.
It was. It bounced back to Julio Cesar. I don't think Luis Gustavo was best pleased with that. I think he's given David Luiz a piece of his mind.
Do you not think David Luiz does things like that? He doesn't mean it, but it's just that things seem to happen for him.
Daftness, really, from David Luiz. Could have gone anywhere. So 0-0, but Croatia have had the best chance of the match so far. But here come Brazil. Early days yet, of course. Neymar trying to weave his way in from the left-hand side. And then Luis Gustavo is upended by Rakitic, and it's a free kick which Brazil take quickly. Neymar plays it square. Paulinho will shoot, takes a deflection, but that carries it wider off the goal, and it bounces into the advertising hoardings 7 yards wide of Pleticosa's right post for a corner.
Yeah, that was a good block, got it away to corner. As I said, Brazil are a big side. They look very threatening when the ball goes in the box.
Neymar is quickly over there to take this. Neymar with the corner, just waiting. The yellow flag being ruffled by the pleasant breeze, and Neymar now with the corner in towards the near post, but the referee had already blown. There's clearly something happening inside the penalty area that he was unhappy with, and he walks across. Rakitic is the closest player to him, but I think he seems to be pointing towards Jelavic and David Luiz, and he will speak to both of them, and then they turn away.
See, but it's John got the corner out of the way.
Yeah. Neymar to take it. Thiago Silva is right on Pleticosa, and in fact the defender has sandwiched himself in between them on the goal line. Thiago Silva, and is virtually pushing the two Croatian men into the back of the net. Corner then, Neymar plays it inside it away at the near post by Perisic for Croatia, and it bounces down on the edge of the area, and it'll be taken forward by Kovacic, and Croatia, red and white check shirts, are pouring forward, but Oscar doing well and tackling back and actually deflecting the ball back out of play for a throw into Croatia.
Just going back to the corner though, John, about Jelavic there, the referee pulls him at one side. You could look, there was at least 5 challenges with arms wrapped around each other, so it's a single one. And when the ball came in, there was still a lot of fouls going on, but very brave referee to give something.
Yes, I suspect it is something that the officials will have talked about at their hideaway, as Pleticosa rather unconvincingly chips the ball away, as Croatia though are able to keep it. And here is Rakitic now to Olic on the left-hand side. Olic speeding down the left, a low delivery this time, it's flicked, it's in! It's an own goal! It's gone off Marcelo into the back of his own net, and Croatia have a shock lead in the opening match. What a stunner for Brazil that is! They're 1-0 down with 10 minutes played. Brazil 0, Croatia 1, and that very definitely was not in the script.
No, it wasn't. Well, listen, don't underestimate Croatia. The game plan so far is working. Olic is doing a terrific job down this left-hand side. He's very willing to run into the space, and he just keeps running, and he hits a low ball. Jelavic tries to put it in the goal, misses it. I think he gets a slight touch on it, and yes, it does, and it hits Marcelo on the left toe. Julio Cesar's laying on the ground, and it's 1-0.
Brazil 0. Croatia 1. Well. And the Croatian supporters, who are vastly outnumbered, let me tell you, there are probably 800 of them, I'm guessing, maybe a little bit more than that. Many of them are on the top tier, behind the goal to our right in one of the temporary stands, and they are delirious because they've seen their team take the lead against Brazil in the opening match of Brazil's World Cup. Well, the last one that Brazil hosted back in 1950 finished in tears and with defeat in what turned out to be the final match against Uruguay. And here we are, 64 years later, and now it's Croatia looking to break away again, but Jelavic couldn't reach it. Jelavic is suggesting there that Kovacic was fouled in the centre circle, but no free kick, and Brazil are able to bring it away again from the halfway line. Oscar now on the right. Oscar's cross too close to Petr Kosovic, straight into his midriff, and the experienced goalkeeper can catch it. So 1-0 Croatia.
Croatia, I said game plan 4-5-1. They sort of have, really. There's no doubt about how they're playing. They're quite willing to bring Brazil on, and it's worked a treat. That counter-attack, Olic twice now has got down ahead at the far post. A great cross, and it was an easy cross. I've got to say, I don't know if Oscar, we all thought he'd be playing behind the striker, Fred. He's not. He's playing right side of the midfield. He's basically not helping out Dani Alves at any time, and he doesn't really, for me, look interested as if he should be playing there.
So Brazil 0, Croatia 1, and we already have the first story of this World Cup. For Marcelo to score an own goal. Already mentioned the fact that it's his birthday, 26 years old today, and he is the one, he is the unfortunate one who got the final touch, as Chris Waddle said, his toe end, the final touch that took it into the net from only 5 or 6 yards out. A little touch from Jelavic, really couldn't do anything about it, just hit him and went in.
I've got to say, John, I know the game's only been going a little bit, but you've got to say Croatia are very, very happy with the pace and the way Brazil are playing. They've not played a forward ball, really, unless Neymar drops deep, which he's just played there. The two guys sitting in midfield, Gustavo, Paulinho, just play simple little 5-yard balls. No penetration. It's very easy for Croatia to get behind the ball, and Brazil need to be a little bit more ambitious and raise the tempo. They're playing so slow.
Well, Croatia looking to break away again. Jelavic plays the ball infield, but straight to Thiago Silva, but Dani Alves is caught in possession, and now Kovacic is onto it. Kovacic taking it on towards the edge of the area, thought about a shot. Brazilian players coming back. Might have been a foul on Kovacic, but it's not given, and Brazil are able to bring it away. And for once, for the first time in the game, Croatia have committed players downfield with that counter-attack. Now it's Brazil who counter with Oscar. Oscar swings the cross in, it's a good one, and it just evades Fred in the middle, and the diving hook at the back post, as Neymar it was at the back post, and between them and out of play for a goal kick.
That's the downside for Croatia. They committed 4-5 bodies forward. They couldn't get back. Brazil up the pace, get it out Oscar on this right-hand side, and you'll not see many better crosses than that in the tournament. And that is a wonderful ball, and I've got to say, whether it's Fred or Neymar, that should have been an equalising goal.
But it is still 1-0 to Croatia here on BBC 5 Live, the home of this World Cup on the radio. Do listen to us if you can via the BBC iPlayer radio. You can download the app for free, the BBC Sport app as well. And the place to go to during the course of this World Cup, get used to it, bbc.co.uk/World Cup, where you can follow all the games, you can watch all of the match of the day live programmes, you can listen to all to 5 Live's commentaries as well, wherever you go, on your mobile, your desktop, your tablet, on your connected TV, wherever you are. And at the moment it does seem rather dim inside the stadium because some of the floodlights appear to have failed. Half of the floodlights seem to have failed on the roof of the stand opposite, and half of the floodlights have failed in the roof over the temporary stand to our right, and that could become a problem.
Well, you see, you don't need a protest to stop a football match.
1-0 Croatia. Ball played up towards Neymar, who's onto it, and Neymar shoots. It's deflected, but it's headed away by Lovren. It was deflected towards him, and he was able just to steer it down. Couldn't keep it in, Olic, so it's out of play for a corner to Brazil on the right.
Corner, yes, right hand side, and they've got to cut the concentration, Croatia. At times they switch off.
Neymar to take this corner from the right as Brazil look for the equaliser. It's a deep one towards the back post, headed away for Croatia, comes out to Kovacic. There was no one, they had everyone back inside their own defensive third, and therefore Modric just has to keep the ball really, which he of course is ever so good at doing, and then the ball is headed out of play over on the far side by Marcelo, the scorer of the first goal at this World Cup. The first goal at the World Cup in Brazil is an own goal by the Brazilian Marcelo. Well, is this going to become a problem, this floodlight issue? Because the skies are beginning to darken. And as I mentioned to you the other day, when night falls in wintertime in Brazil, it's like someone drawing the curtains. It almost goes cold. Here is Marcelo, who crosses from the left-hand side, and it's blocked out of play for a throw. There are signs of life.
Yeah. How does it go again?
There are signs of life. The lights are beginning to come on.
Yeah, there's 3.
Needs a few more than that.
Yeah.
I suspect that the Sao Paulo electricity board at the moment, things will be fairly frantic. Brazil with it. Paulinho plays it aerially towards the edge of the box. Choluca heads it away and comes back towards the halfway line. Long pass from Thiago Silva into the penalty area. Dani Alves pulls that down brilliantly and crosses, but straight at Pleticosa, who's able to catch it into his chest.
How often do you see Dani Alves doing that? He has another counter-attack with Croatia. How many times do you see him run inside the full-back or behind the full-back, the left-back, and get in behind? Fantastic movement he's got.
Well, if you just joined us on 5 Live, this is the opening match of the World Cup, and the score is Brazil 0, Croatia 1. And now it is Croatia playing the ball towards Olic, who created the first goal, the experienced Olic. Here he is, keeping possession. He's on his right foot, but he uses his left just to steer it back to Rakitic, who's on his way to Barcelona this summer. £20 million or so they've paid for him this week. Now the ball is played forward down the left-hand side for Vassalico, who crosses, but there's no one in the middle. I think he might have just overrun it. It's out of play.
I'm surprised with Dani Alves. He let him get there. He was favoured to get in. Whether he thought that's going out of play, it's a poor cross at the end, but Dani Alves should have got that well before the fullback got there.
More lights are coming on now in the roof to our right. We've got 2 of the sections of floodlights coming on there, and I think they're going to circumnavigate the problem. Thank goodness.
On the coins.
They have. Maybe it was the shock of Brazil going behind in this game like a lightning bolt, and they're still 1-0 down. And Brazil playing the ball towards David Luiz now, who controls it. David Luiz, very rarely good enough, David Luiz, to get into Chelsea's central defensive pair. Here's Oscar now down the right-hand side, might have got his shirt pulled, and then the cross took a deflection off Vassalico and bounces behind for another corner to Brazil from the right.
Oscar's got a lot of talent. You know, he is going to be a top player, there's no doubt about it. There's only him can stop him from being there. The way he just goes past the fullback there, excellent.
So here comes Neymar again, just runs the ball into the corner quadrant. Neymar, right-footed corner. It's a deep one to the back post. It's over the top of David Luiz, who then collides with someone, goes to ground. With Olic it was. Cross from the left-hand side. Pleticosa shouts for it, pats it down and gathers it safely for Croatia at the second attempt.
So far they're dealing with the set pieces very, very well, Croatia, haven't they? The ball's coming in the box. If no Brazilian heads it, there's no Croatian heads it. Make sure they get it away somehow. They're dealing very well. Got a good shape to them and they're still carrying a threat on the break. So
this is Brazil 0, Croatia 1 on 5 Live. Also, BBC World Service listeners on Africa are with us, so you're very welcome here, joining us in South America. The first World Cup in South America since Argentina 78. And Brazil, the host nation, now coming forward with the ball into the penalty area. Paulinho shoots from an angle, it's beaten away. Just patted it away, Pleticosa. Back towards Paulinho. On target, but straight at Pleticosa. Out of play for a throw.
They've just got to concentrate a little bit more. It's nice to see Brazil actually up the tempo. They've got to want to get back in this game.
Alves with the cross. 2 defenders went for it, and it was cleared away of a fashion by the experienced Dario Serna at right back. The record appearances holder for Croatia. It's his 113th cap tonight, Dario Serna, the captain. 1-0 Croatia lead, and Brazil starting again on the halfway line. I'm not sure the spectators have quite recovered from the blow of going behind. The Brazilian supporters, that is. Flick from Neymar. It does reach Luis Gustavo. Now here is Marcelo, the scorer of the own goal. Marcelo does well. Crosses, took a deflection, but that took it spinning across the surface of the grass, straight to the goalkeeper, Pleticosa again.
Brazil are gradually working their way towards the goal. They're getting on top now, and the movement's a lot better. They're playing a higher tempo, and Croatia's got to raise it. They're getting behind the ball, but they're not closing them down enough, and Brazil's had 2 or 3 good occasions in the last 5 minutes.
So Brazil have the ball in their own defensive third again. For the statistically minded among you, that is the 29th World Cup own goal and the first Brazil have scored in their 98th game World Cup history. The first one they've ever scored. Here is Neymar now down the right-hand side into the area. Pass Rakitic. Neymar crosses. Might have just overrun it. Cleared out to Oscar. Oscar shoots and Pleticosa saves, diving away to his right. That's his best save so far.
Well, this is more like Brazil. What a run, what a ball to Neymar. What a fantastic run.
Brazil again. Suddenly the tempo is up, and the shot from Hulk on the left-hand side of the penalty area, but he was off balance and he sliced it away into all of those yellow shirts behind Pleticosa's goal from the angle.
Neymar had a fantastic run off the back of Rakitic, and he does everything right. I think the ball had crossed the lane, I've got to say, when he pulled it back and the play on. But again, threatening the goal again, Brazil, and Oscar followed up with a terrific effort with his left foot. They're getting on top. Croatia's got to work a little bit harder.
And Pleticosa, I think, got a good sight of it, even though it was hit through a crowd of players. Dived to his right, got both palms to it to punch it away. Brazil 0, Croatia 1. Yes, Croatia are winning, and they're coming forward again with the cross that bounces from Perisic easily to Julio Cesar to pick up. Julio Cesar, the QPR goalkeeper who played once for QPR this season. Of course, went to Toronto and played there, but just the one game for Queen's Park Rangers. Now the ball forward towards Dani Alves, who this time can't control it. We've already seen one magnificent piece of control for him. It can't work every time, and it just bounced through for a goal kick. And that game that he played for QPR was in the FA Cup when they lost 4-0 to Everton at Goodison Park in January. And I don't know whether you will be getting the same pictures at home that we're getting in the stadium here, but get used to this if you're watching on the television, because with the use of goal line technology, I think there is a FIFA diktat which says that every goal, regardless of how it's scored, where the ball ends up, you'll get a rerun of goal line technology. And we've just had the confirmation that the ball did cross the line.
Well, obviously it crossed the lane. It was starting about the goal. I mean, we can see that from here. It's ridiculous, that, isn't it?
It's going to happen, Chris. Every single goal.
We just go too far. We go too far. What's going on?
Well, we've not seen the disappearing paint yet, have we? Disappearing paint yet to come.
No, it says goal. It means gold, doesn't it? Do we need to see that?
Perisic has just gone down, holding his head, and the referee has just made his way over there just to check and see that Perisic is okay. He's just taken an elbow, really.
Well, he caught him.
Yeah, in his face
from Paulino as well. He did the right thing.
He's okay. He's on his feet. I think he himself told the referee that he didn't need anyone to come on and give him treatment. Just seeing Scolari, Filipao, as they call him, just coming to the edge of the coaching area to speak to Dani Alves. 1 or 2 instructions from him. Casually dressed as ever, Scolari, with his blue rain jacket open at the front, white polo shirt on, trainers, tracksuit bottoms. That's his way. Here is Oscar now on the right-hand side. 1-0 to Croatia, and we've had almost 25 minutes. Croatia taking the lead in the 11th minute of the game. Here is David Luiz now, who plays it forward, but gets too much on that and it rolls through for a goal kick.
Well, the best spell they've had was probably the last 10 minutes, haven't they, Brazil? And they've had 2 or 3 good chances, set pieces that look a little bit threatening, but give Croatia credit. And they've had 2 good chances. They've scored 1, all right, bit of good fortune, 1 goal, but Olic could have scored at the far post, but it's going to be a long evening for Croatia unless they work really hard. And
I think all of those floodlights have now come back on. It does seem we're up to the required standard again, the brightness, and they are beginning to take effect now as that darkness that I talked about begins to descend. Just looking out of the ground through one of the gaps, I can see some red emergency lights flashing there. I don't know whether there's anything happening over in that part of the area outside the ground. As you will be aware, there have been demonstrations in Sao Paulo today, and let's just hope that everything has passed off peaceably. It really would be an awful way to start if there was anything untoward to happen. And now Modric has just been caught there, and that is a yellow card, the first yellow card of this World Cup, and players have got involved. And it was Neymar on Modric. The 2 of them came together, and Modric has stayed down, and the way that the players have reacted here suggests to me that was not too clever by Neymar.
I've got to say, Modric knew what he was doing. Look, he's got up, he's played for it. We're getting a replay. Look, he's backed in. Neymar stuck his arm up as he's watching the ball. Look at Modric here. We can see him here. He's looking at Neymar all the time. He's not looking at the ball. He's played for it. Got Neymar a yellow card and got a free kick.
I mean, Neymar kept a strong arm. He knew Modric was coming, and the two of them, just little pocket battleships.
He's got one first in the World Cup anyway.
Yes, he's got the first yellow card. They came here in their thousands hoping that Neymar would score the first goal. Instead, Croatia are winning 1-0, and Neymar has got the first yellow card. And it's a free kick. So Lovren, let's keep an eye on Lovren. We know that he can cause problems. Chorluka as well has come up from the back on the edge of the penalty area. Jelavic as well. Olic too. We've already seen Olic go close with one free kick. And it is a free kick. I don't know whether the referee's used his invisible paint here to make sure that they go back 10 yards. Apparently not, I'm told. And the free kick is going to be played in from Cerna into the penalty area. Comes off the head of David Luiz, who got up there with all of those tall Croatians around him. Luiz got his head to it and nodded it out of play for a throw-in on this side of the field, the Croatian left.
Well, that was a training ground free kick, wasn't it? Cerna just taps it, gets it stopped, and he wraps his foot round it, and David Luiz got a very important header, a very good header as well away for a throw-in. Croatia are really slowing the game down when the ball goes out of play, taking the time. I'm sure it'll be a yellow soon.
Throw-in taken by Versailles. Cleared away, but only to Rakitic, who plays it nicely into the penalty area, a threatening ball, and now Perisic crossing, left-footed from the left-hand side. It's headed back across by Jelavic, but caught by Julio Cesar, and Jelavic there might have been better to head it square to Olic. Instead, Julio Cesar took it.
It was wonderful play. They have got some clever players, Croatia. They're going to have to defend a lot tonight, but when they get the ball, get it to the right couple of players, they can cause problems.
Here is Oscar, does well in a tight situation. Neymar now. Neymar takes it on and shoots, and Pleticosa can't keep it out. It's in off the foot of the post, and Neymar has scored Brazil's first goal at this World Cup on home soil. The number 10 has done it. He's equalised, and it's Brazil 1, Croatia 1. And what a racket inside the Sao Paulo stadium here.
I've got to say, Pleticosa for me, he took an eternity to hit the ground, and Neymar didn't catch it very well on his left foot. He beats a man. You can see what he's going to do. He strikes it from about 22, 23 yards, and he didn't get the contact he wanted on it. It's rolled along the ground. It's nestled in the bottom court. For me, the goalkeeper, Pleticosa, really should have done a little bit better there. He went down in instalments. The goalkeeper for me, he just doesn't go down, he doesn't react, and it's nestled in the bottom corner. It's not the cleanest strike we'll see from Neymar in this tournament. He doesn't care, Brazil don't care. It's 1-1.
But for accuracy, I mean, it's in off the foot of the post. I mean, it's almost taken 3/4 of the post and bounced into the back of the net. And incredibly, fireworks are going off all over Sao Paulo. We can see them away through the corners, the gaps in the stand. That's an incredible sight. Fireworks going off all over the city because Brazil have scored. I bet they're going off all over Brazil as well. So 1-1, and suddenly the host nation is a great deal happier.
Well, they are. They're a little bit edgy, aren't they? And listen, this first game's always difficult for the players. They've got to get into a rhythm. Worst thing happened to them. Home goal, Martial, 1-0 Croatia, and they've just equalised now, and that really should relax them, and it should kick them on. But don't underestimate Croatia. They're a very, very talented side.
So 1-1, Brazil 1, Croatia 1. This is the World Cup, the 2014 World Cup, here on 5 Live. And the ball's out of play for a throw-in to Croatia next to where Scolari stands.
Just going back that goal, if you watch it again, he hasn't caught it as well as he wants, Neymar, which you expect, and he'll probably say that. But for me, John, the goalkeeper, he went down far too slow.
That's Pleticosa, the 35-year-old Pleticosa, so experienced over the years. Great tournament experience as well. This is his 3rd World Cup. I mean, it was right in the bottom corner. But he had a good sight of it.
There was no pace on it, though, Tom.
Yeah.
He didn't catch it as well as he wanted. With the power he went for, it didn't happen. Sort of scuffed it slightly, and it rolled, and you thought, that's an easy save, and it's somehow nestled in that bottom corner off the post.
Yeah, and very often your initial reaction is right, isn't it? And I think I said Pleticosa can't keep it out, which suggests that you thought that he should have saved it. So Brazil 1, Croatia 1. And the smell of cordite is in the air. It's drifting across the city of Sao Paulo, where we've now got a beautiful pink sunset as well. The clouds we can see behind the stand to our right. So 1-1 in the opening match. Croatia were in front in the 11th minute. Brazil equalised just before the half hour. The 29th minute they scored. And now the Brazilian supporters can sing their songs and beat out their rhythm. And it is Luis Gustavo out to the left-hand side to Marcelo. Still the fireworks go off outside the ground. And the ball is played back towards the halfway line to Luis Gustavo. Now again to the left-hand side. And Marcelo on his left foot plays it again out there to the left flank to Hulk. And Hulk up against Perisic. Hulk goes past his man, goes towards the dead ball line, and then Cerna was there to deflect it behind. I think Cerna suggesting he might have been shoved over by Hulk, but it's a corner.
He's just ran into him after Cerna's played the ball out. Hulk kind of stopped himself. He does hit him and he goes down. Cerna looking for a free kick, but again, so far Croatia have dealt with these set pieces well, but they are a big, strong side, Brazil.
So it's a corner from the left-hand side this time to Brazil, taken by Neymar, who's scored and been booked already. Here it is, right-footed in towards the near post. Pleticosa comes and pats it down with Fred in front of him, but manages to gather it at the second attempt.
He's not convincing, is he, the goalkeeper? I've got to say he's made a couple of good stops, straight at him, reaction saves, but he'd be disappointed with that goal.
That's Chris Waddle. This is 5 Live. It's Brazil 1, Croatia 1, and all of tomorrow's 3 games you'll be able to hear here on 5 Live, starting at 5 o'clock. That's the first kick-off time in the UK tomorrow, and that is Mexico against Cameroon. But it's the next match, Spain-Netherlands, I think, which is top of the bill tomorrow. Here's Perisic on the right, and it is blocked behind by sliding Marcelo for Croatia's first corner.
Well, it is, it's a corner. They're going to take the time again. Rakitic, I think it is, he's just walking over very slowly. And see what they've got from a set piece. They look quite threatening.
Well, they've already shocked Brazil once. It's level now at 1-1. But can they move ahead again? Rakitic to take this. Just steps away. 2 or 3 steps back. Players grouped around the penalty spot. 3 of them, the 2 central defenders and Jelavic. And here is the delivery from Rakitic towards the near post that's headed away by Luis Gustavo under no particular pressure. And then Cerna concedes possession, just passes it straight out of play for a throw into Brazil halfway inside their own half. So 1-1. Neymar has scored. That, incidentally, for Neymar is 23 goals in his last 29 internationals. And he might not really have set things alight at Barcelona, you know, and there's time to add yet. He's only been there for his first season, and of course had injury problems as well as the difficulties, well-chronicled difficulties off the field. But in Brazil, make no mistake, Neymar is the kingpin. Here is Thiago Silva, plays it to Marcelo on the left-hand side. No one, I'm sure, will be more relieved to see Neymar score than Marcelo after his opening own goal. And now David Luiz, with Olic closing him down, and David Luiz goes back and across to Thiago Silva. This is patient stuff again from Brazil as we enter the final 10 minutes of the first half of the opening match. And then a long raking pass which is intercepted and deflects out of play for a throw-in to Croatia, which is disputed by Dani Alves, who goes up to the Japanese assistant and puts his hands together in a praying motion, but it is a throw-in to Croatia, almost level with the edge of their own penalty area. And Versalico takes it towards Olic, who's had an excellent first half. Olic, despite his advancing years, 34 years old now, and here he is again, Olic, the former Bayern Munich man. Olic, strong as the challenge comes in on him from Dani Alves, wins the throw-in.
He looks very clumsy, doesn't he, when he picks the ball up, but he does a job. He's getting down that left-hand side, he's had a head at the far post, he's made the goal with the cross, and he's keep running Dani Alves back.
Of course, one of the memories of Olic was when he scored in Croatia's famous win at Wembley when the odds were against them in Steve McLaren's darkest hour as the England coach. So, you know, there is that big game experience. And here is Brazil coming forward with Neymar, who just moves away from Rakitic, who'll be his teammate next season. Might have been fouled there, but play continues. Hulk in possession, but then he is crowded off the ball by a combination of Rakitic and Stern. Here is Olic, but Olic loses possession, and now Oscar drags it back across, and Modric had to get there ahead of Paulinho, and he did, and managed to just sweep it out of play for a throw.
Wonderful tracking by Modric, and he's an all-round midfield player, isn't he? Box to box, he's got skill, he can see a pass, and he track Paulinho just as well. Wonderful defensive play, and he clears his lines.
Modric against Paulinho was Tottenham past against Tottenham present, of course, and the ball bounces off Marcelo and out of play for a throw-in to Croatia in their own right back area. It really is now beginning to get dark outside the stadium. You can see the lights of Sao Paulo now glinting through all of the various sight lines that we have, and I'm delighted to say that the lights are properly on inside the stadium here after that little floodlight malfunction that we had. Throwing to Croatia, 10 yards inside the Brazilian half. After all of the will they, won't theys of the course of the past 5 or 6 years in terms of whether Brazil would be ready, well, the answer, of course, as it always is, that through one way or another they've managed to get it all right on the night. But I did have my worries when the lights went out. Here is Versalico on the left-hand side. Versalico plays it to Olic, who tried to backheel it on towards Versalico, who continued his run, but it was blocked out for a throw.
I'm just happy the stadiums are finished. Never mind the lights. All the build-up to this tournament, there's this not going to happen and that's not going to happen. So far, so good.
Yes, although we've not yet had the first 45 minutes. Throw-in taken, and then Oscar deflected out of play for another throw-in to Croatia, level with the edge of the Brazilian penalty area. Brazil 1, Croatia 1. People watching, I'm sure, watching and listening all over the world as Croatia, now with young Kovacic, plays it back towards the halfway line, and Rakitic is there. Rakitic turns and sets off down the left wing. Olic was available, but he went infield, and it's deflected back. Just a touch from Oscar, but it finds its way all the way back now to Chorluka, halfway inside his own half. And Chorluka and Lovren exchange passes. So Brazil 1, Croatia 1. And Lovren swings the ball forward, but that is intercepted, and Marcelo has gone down. The ball's out of play for what would be a Brazilian throw, and Marcelo has gone down and stayed down.
He was late, Turner. He was late, he didn't get the ball. He's seen out of Marcelo, he just went in late on him, and I've seen yellow cards given for that. Referee didn't really spot it.
And Marcelo and Hulk as well are making their feelings known to the referee about that. But the free kick is taken quickly as half-time approaches, just over 5 minutes to play. At half-time, of course, we'll be going back to Ian Carter at Pinehurst for the latest on the first day, the first round of this year's US Open. But Brazil now, Oscar wins it back, plays it into the penalty area for Neymar, an important interception from Versalico, and Neymar very nearly got past him. The ball is played away, up towards Kovacic, but it's won back by Thiago Silva, and now here is David Luiz, who's beginning to storm forward with him. Of course, we've seen this so often with Chelsea, but he plays the pass, David Luiz. It bounces back to him, 10 yards inside the Croatian half. Left-footed ball towards the edge of the area, cleared away, and Brazil just probing there, and threatening that something may happen. Here's Oscar. Olic as well, very tight on him, then Dani Alves, and just to get a touch on it to Neymar. And Neymar now to Dani Alves, shoots goalward, it's blocked on the edge of the area by Versalico, comes back to Neymar, does well, played it round Rakitic, who caught him, and it's a free kick from an angle, and they're baying for a yellow card for Rakitic for this, but Rakitic goes across and holds him to his feet, and the referee, he did move his hand to his pocket there, the referee.
I wouldn't have booked him for that. Neymar,
I don't think he has.
Neymar's rolling around on the floor. He doesn't need to do that. He's never touched him. He's got the free kick. Just get up.
Dangerous moments for Croatia now. Croatia will have gone mad when they took the lead in the 11th minute of this match, but 1-1 it is now, and half-time approaching. And a free kick. Well, I sat here in this position last night and watched a series of Brazilians in their final training session being brought forward to take free kicks. And let me tell you, there were some fantastic free kicks hit by those players. And virtually half the squad had a go at taking a free kick. But this is Brazil. So who's going to take this one? David Luiz is there, and Neymar is there as well. The wall is lined up, and we have used the paint. He's used the paint to make sure that they're 10 yards away. We can see clearly the line. The paint has been used. Free kick, which is taken by Neymar, and it hits the wall and bounces out of play next to the corner flag for another set piece for Brazil. Just wondering how quickly that paint is going to disappear.
Well, they did well, the wall, and that's what they should do. They jumped. Rakitic it was, who just heads it away for another corner to Brazil.
It is disappearing, look.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, amazing.
I'll tell you a story in a minute.
I'll
tell you a story in a minute.
Corner, Brazil take it. Neymar, it's 1-1, plays it to Hulk, who tried to bustle his way through into the penalty area, but Croatia have got it back. Story, Sam?
Quick, I've seen this on a Brazilian second division game. They used it, I think, originally, and I went to the FA with it and said, why don't you try it in a non-league? And the FA wouldn't have it. They wouldn't have it.
And here we are now in the World Cup, and it's being used.
Ahead of me time.
Well, they always did say that, didn't they?
Yep. It's usually in the second division in Brazil, didn't they? And that's where it came from. And
throw into Croatia in front of the very sleek-looking Niko Kovac with his slicked back, jet black hair. What a great performer he was, and his brother as well, who's his assistant, was Kovac. Watching in a dark suit as Croatia have the ball inside their own half, but they're going backwards. Rakitic, who was not booked, we should make clear, for his challenge on Neymar. Modric now, but Marcelo comes in with the challenge. Marcelo wins it back, and now with Croatians committed upfield, there might be some space here for Brazil. Marcelo has continued his run. There's a lot of space on the left, but the offside flag is up against Oscar. And then that was a wasted opportunity, because he had the freedom of the left flank there, Oscar, but straight offside.
Modric could have got a free kick just over the halfway line for Croatia. The referee said play on. And I don't think it's him offside, you know. I think it's very, very tight. It's Fred who's offside, and the linesman's flagged for him.
Brazil 1, Croatia 1. Incidentally, if the World Cup is not your thing, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, over on 5 Live Sports Extra now, you can hear Leeds Rhinos against Huddersfield Giants in the Super League. But this is 1-1 in the opening match of the World Cup. 3 more games to come tomorrow. Kick-off times 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock. That's more or less the rhythm over the course of these opening days of this tournament for you to get used to. And of course, as I've said for weeks now, if that last match is too much for you, you can always take the radio to bed with you and listen to us there on 5 Live as this tournament grows old. But it is a very young thing at the moment, and it's been a very decent first half, helped of course by the fact that the underdogs took the lead from a neutral point of view, Chris.
I think Croatia will be delighted the way they've played. They've carved out a couple of chances. They've passed the ball well at times, which we expected to play deep, which they are, playing on a counter-attack, and got the goal from that, really. But Brazil, as we expected, dominating possession, equalised. But since then, not really threatened the goal at all.
No, but there's been an awful lot to talk about, one way or another, in this first half. With the score 1-1. Olic can't keep the ball in, down below us. We're in the top tier on the dugout side of the ground, so we're peering down at a great position just to the right of the halfway line as we look down on Olic, who loses it to Neymar. That's very, very dangerous. Neymar's into the penalty area, the angle's tight, challenge on him, back to Hulk. Oh, Hulk wastes it. He got right underneath the shot, trying to curl it into the far top corner.
I'll tell you what, John, look at all the Croatian players having a go at Olic. What is he doing? It's a minute to half time, and he's trying his pirouettes around the park. He doesn't even know where he's going. That could have really proved so costly. You can see the Croatian players have all had a word with him.
Well, I don't know whether he thinks he's Brazilian, Olic, but that was in actual fact, that was a sort of Zidane type.
That's what he was trying to do.
Skill, and it
didn't look the same.
It certainly did not. Brazil 1, Croatia 1, and we entered 2 minutes of added time. Goal kick that Pleticosa takes, and it bounces out of play for a throw into Brazil halfway inside their own half. So 1-1 the score, and all to play for in the second half. It was 1-0 in the 11th minute through the Marcelo own goal. As we've discovered, the first own goal that Brazil have ever scored at a World Cup, remarkably. Brazil, the only country to play at all 20 World Cup finals. And here is Luis Gustavo, now to David Luiz. David Luiz out to the left-hand side, to Oscar. Oscar just back into his own half. Oscar, who played most of the first half on the right-hand side, but now has shifted over to the left for the time being. And Hulk is here on the right. Ball played up towards Fred, who I must say has been very quiet in the first half. Fred spent much of this season out injured. And now Rakitic has got it back for Croatia inside their own half. Olic plays it forward in the last 30 seconds of this first half. And then Luis Gustavo is bowled over by Jelavic, and it's a free kick forward and right of the centre circle. Just taken quickly to Oscar, who plays it to Marcelo. Marcelo looks up, closed down by Perisic, plays it back to Oscar. Oscar now tried to find an angle pass, but it was intercepted by a stretched leg from little Luka Modric. And Perisic now wins a throw-in over there, and I think that'll just be about the final action of this first half.
Croatia be delighted with the result, to go 1-up. As I said, Brazil at times have played too slow. They've not hurt Croatia when they could have. And people say they've had 4 or 5 efforts on goal and they've got one. Set pieces have been the main. And there's the half-time whistle.
So there is the half-time whistle. And it really has been quite an eventful first half of football at this 2014 World Cup, with Marcelo scoring an own goal in the 11th minute of the match that shocked Brazil, silenced Brazil. But Brazil were able to come back, and Neymar came up with the equaliser. But as we've suggested during the commentary, Pleticosa, even though the shot was in off the foot of a post, we feel that Pleticosa perhaps should have saved it. So Brazil 1, Croatia 1 is the score at half-time here in the Sao Paulo World Cup Stadium, with Mark Pugac sitting just to our left. Yes, well, as the second half gets underway, but it went in, and as I said at the time, it almost caught 3/4 of the foot of the post before it spun into the back of the net. So the second half begins, Brazil getting it underway. 1-1 the score, Brazil 1, Croatia 1, Brazil with Julio Cesar, Dani Alves, Thiago Silva, David Luiz and Marcelo, Paulinho, Luis Gustavo, Hulk, Neymar, Oscar and Fred. And Croatia also no changes at half-time, as the ball is just headed away towards the halfway line to Brazil. Pleticosa, the Croatian goalkeeper, at the back, Cerna, Choluka, Lovren and Versalco. Midfield of Modric and Rakitic, with Kovacic in the middle, behind Jelavic and Perisic and Olic in the wide positions. So 1-1 the score. This is 5 Live here on this mild winter's evening in Sao Paulo. And we're watching Brazil in the yellow shirts, blue shorts and white socks, of course, playing from right to left. And Brazil coming forward, an important little tackle back from Kovacic. And we'll get a first word in the second half from Chris Waddle, who played in the World Cup semi-final for England, of course.
Well, this thing will be much of the same. What we saw, Croatia getting behind the ball, trying to use that counter-attack with a bit of pace they've got inside. Waiting for a bit of space, but you're going to say that Brazil are going to dominate, and I'm sure they'll create 1 or 2 good chances. David Luiz again with a loose pass which goes out of play.
Yes, and we talked about it, didn't we, when we were in Lisbon for the Champions League final, and also here in Brazil, the fact that Miranda of Atletico Madrid is not able to get a place even in the squad, while David Luiz is very much a starting central defender alongside Thiago Silva. But, Felipe Scolari very much has his favourites, and, when you've got such a wealth of talent to pick from, as he does, it must, for Brazil, be all about picking the right blend of players, and he clearly feels that this is the blend.
Well, this is his team, and this is the team he's trusting to go and lift the trophy. But there'll be a lot of people saying, why is he playing him? Not William for whoever. Dante instead of David Luiz. There's a few you can question, and I'm sure could easily change if the results don't come. Yeah. It's up to this 11 what he sends out to get the results.
Yeah, Luis Felipe as well. Another Atletico Madrid player, but here come Brazil with it on the halfway line, and a little touch from Oscar out towards the right to Dani Alves, back in field towards Oscar, who's played the majority in the wide positions. He's back on the right now. Here he goes, but the challenge comes in to slide it out of play by Versalco. So a throw in 10 yards away from the corner flag, which is driven across now and then cleared away by Lovren. And further away up towards Jelavic, who really hasn't been in the game. David Luiz, you would think, was very heavy on him there, but no free kick, and Brazil have it back. The referee is from Japan, if you weren't listening in the first half, Yuichi Nishimura, who was the referee when Brazil were knocked out of the last World Cup in South Africa, when they were beaten by the Netherlands in the quarter-finals. Brazil in possession. Here's Dani Alves. Now Oscar once again. Little pass down for Hulk. Back to Oscar again on the right. Oscar Croatians backpedaling, the ball stationary now. Oscar and Hulk together, but Hulk's return pass is nowhere near Oscar. And Croatia in the red and white checked shirts, white numbers on the back, played up towards the halfway line where Jelavic gets nowhere near it. And Julio Cesar, all in grey, has the ball at his feet. I think the spectators inside the ground have enjoyed the half-time break, discussing that eventful first half, and there's just a bit of a quiet lull around the ground now. Still people making their way back towards their seats. And now the beat begins again, and it is Hulk. Here is Oscar, plays it to Dani Alves on the right-hand side. Dani Alves crosses, headed away by a stooping Lovren.
For all Olic has given Dani Alves a few problems going the other way defensively. He's let Dani Alves run off him on 3-4 occasions now, and I wouldn't be surprised if Olic is the first one off the pitch.
Here's the ball played in towards Hulk, who turns and crosses left-footed, but across comes Choluka to volley it away. No messing, straight out of play. It bounces into the advertising hoardings on the far side. So throw-in to Brazil. 1-1 the score into the second half, and the throw-in is taken, and Luis Gustavo turns but crosses it straight into Rakitic, and the ball bounces into the second row of all of those yellow shirts on the far side. An Irish flag is hoisted there on the far side. I have to say, we can't see the customary Scottish flag that we normally do. Ball's been thrown back onto the pitch. There are two balls on the field, but play continues with Oscar on the right-hand side. Somebody's kicked it off the field. Back to Alves. Now Oscar once again. Oscar takes on the left-back Versalico, and the ball bounced behind. Oscar has stayed down, and I think the free kick has been given Brazil's way.
Well, it has. It's like a goal. I think he's played the ball. Oscar's there. He's missed the ball, and he's played with his afterfoot, but harsh to give it away, I've got to say. And again, it's more or less a corner which is going to come in now. You'll set yourself up for that, but it's all Brazil at the minute on the ball without creating any chances.
Free kick though, this is dangerous. It's in the full-back position, the Croatia left-back position, and it is Neymar who is over the ball. So Paulinho just on the edge of the penalty area, and Luis Gustavo as well. David Luiz takes up a position at the back post. Two players near this penalty spot, that's where Fred is, and Thiago Silva. So those five players are the targets for Neymar with this free kick on the right. Neymar plays it in, and it's headed away by Choluka, who just came across Thiago Silva, I think it was, with the run, and headed it away out towards Modric, who's speedily taken towards the halfway line, but is tackled, and Brazil have it back, and Croatia have got to get back into position here. The ball bounces for Paulinho, who then concedes a free kick, just a shove in the back on Lovren, who took the invitation to go down and win the free kick.
That was a great tackle by Oscar, wasn't it? Chasing back Modric, who was just about to release Olic on the run, but again Brazil getting the ball back quickly, and a silly foul to give away by putting in the corner flag. No need.
So 1-1 the score. Is it too early to draw any conclusions about Brazil on the basis of what we've seen so far?
No, it's hard. I think opening game, you've got to get into a bit of a rhythm, and I think players are very nervous on the opening game. It's a big night for them. So I don't know. I think let's see by the end of the group what they're looking like.
Yes. Of course, the other two teams in this group, Mexico and Cameroon. So on paper, you would probably say that this is the toughest game that Brazil have got in the group, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think I'd be very surprised if these aren't the two teams who actually go through to the next stage.
And Mexico and Cameroon play tomorrow in the first game tomorrow. That's our first commentary match. Starts at 5 o'clock UK time. First of 3 commentary matches on 5 Live tomorrow. Croatia in possession, just near the centre circle. Ball played out here towards Cerna, the captain, right back, but he can be very, very effective in right midfield as well, as we know. Here is Modric now, no longer the blonde hair, the long blonde hair. He's had it cut. Rakitic. Now back to Modric in the centre circle. And Modric, as Luis Gustavo arrives on the scene, just finds Rakitic, and now a pass towards young Kovacic of Inter Milan. And Croatia keeping the ball here, as well as they've done in the game, actually. This is patient stuff from them. And Choluka finds Rakitic. He's played very much in a deep-lying position, Rakitic. That's a good pass towards Cerna, who takes it down with his chest. And Cerna plays it to the edge of the penalty area, but nowhere near Olic. And it's cleared away by Dani Alves on the edge of the box.
That was a good bit of play. That's the best we've saw of Croatia. Apart from the odd counter-attack, they actually got the ball down. They went through the two important players, Rakitic and Modric, who had a lot of touches there. And you expect them to grow in this game. Brazil's put a big shift in so far.
Now a free kick to Brazil. Perisic just pulled up for the foul on Oscar, who went down. Versalco it was actually with the challenge.
Should be a yellow.
Yeah, it was nasty. But no yellow card. The only yellow card so far for Neymar. Croatia winning the ball back inside their own half. And Chorluka, once of Manchester City and Spurs, of course, plays it forward. Bounces for Rakitic, who's got space in front of him here now. Rakitic then passes it out towards the left-hand side to Olic. Stretches, plays the ball in. A low cross, aiming for Jelavic in the middle, and Thiago Silva came across and volleyed it out.
This is a great spell for Croatia at the minute. This last 5 minutes, they've really got the ball moving, and Brazil have come right off the pace. They don't have the feel in the pace. Not nervous energy they've used tonight. I know that before the game, the build-up. So this is a very good spell for Croatia.
And another very good, dangerous delivery there from Olic on the left-hand side, read by Thiago Silva. Ball on the left-hand side with Croatia, who win themselves a throw-in, just about level with the edge of the Brazilian penalty area. As we sit high here, we begin to see the moon as the clouds part, way beyond the roof of the stadium opposite. Here's Modric, now against his fellow number 10, Neymar, who tackles back. And the ball runs to Rakitic. Modric again. Now to Perisic, left foot, but struck it sweetly enough, but no direction on it. It was wide and high and into the yellow shirts behind Julio Cesar.
Modric is having a big say in this game. The last 5-10 minutes, he's really getting on the ball and he's making things happen. He's looking to get a shot from himself there. Eventually a shot comes off high and wide, but this is good play by Croatia.
So 1-1 the score, 5 live, Brazil 1, Croatia 1. You're also listening live on the BBC World Service in Africa as well to this opening match of the 2014 World Cup here in Brazil. The ball out of play for a throw-in to Croatia inside their own half. Brazil just having a little bit of a lull themselves at the moment as well, and Croatia having a good period of possession. And it is with Chorluka at the back, and plays it to Modric. Just skips infield and gives it towards Rakitic, who is dispossessed by Oscar, but Modric comes across and just hits a ball downfield, which Dani Alves is struggling to deal with, and plays back towards Julio Cesar. Now, was there a little trip there on Olic, who went tumbling down into the penalty area after Alves, and now a ball forward towards Oscar, but that will bounce through to Pleticosa.
I haven't seen a replay, John, but it looked like he ran in his path the way he was running. I don't think he deliberately did it, Dani Alves. You could say sometimes he can do things like that. First impressions was yes, but I'm not sure if he just crossed paths.
Yes, I think there's a touch of nerves, you know, in that little incident there as well. Brazil just having one of their less good periods of the game, and a chance to think about things. And
well, they've come off the pace.
Yeah.
They're playing very slow, which is suiting Croatia. The work rate's dropped.
And here's Marcelo on the left-hand side, who wins a throw-in after his attempted ball forward was blocked out. Next to where Phil Scolari, I have to say, is looking rather animated down there, a little concerned as well at the way that the game is at the moment. And then Marcelo is caught by Perisic, and it's a free kick to Brazil here on the left. Again, and this time Scolari just throws his arms up in frustration. So free kick. Neymar is going to tap it close to Marcelo. And the ball with Neymar back into his own half. Just been handed a piece of paper which tells me that Roberto Martinez has signed a new 5-year contract with Everton. So a 5-year contract for Roberto Martinez, having only been at the club for a year. Now it is Oscar bringing it forward, gives it to Neymar, 25 yards out. Neymar, there is space out there on the right-hand side, but Neymar just got too much on the pass, really, and it fizzed away beyond Paulinho and out for a throw.
Yeah, a little bit injection of pace there, wasn't it? Oscar again going past two players. Neymar puts a little bit too much on it. We're just getting a replay of the Dani Alves tripping up, but he's just run across his path. It's not deliberate at all.
And a 5-year contract for Roberto Martinez.
Yeah, listen, I think he's been
merited.
I like him as a manager, plays lovely football, and I'm sure Everton fans will be absolutely delighted when he signed that.
Yeah, so as well as the World Cup, maybe a little bit of chat about that later as well on 0500 909 693 with Chris Waddle And Mark Pugac, who's here with us in Sao Paulo this evening. Here is Marcelo, who I think was just handed off there by Serna. He was. The free kick is given Brazil's way. And Marcelo will climb to his feet once more.
Serna is known, he can't do that. Silly foul to give away. Marcelo wasn't going anywhere.
Here is Neymar. Neymar plays it, took a deflection, and that carried it straight to Rakitic, halfway inside the Croatian half. The score is 1-1. Brazil 1, Croatia 1. When this nation, Brazil, very much expected to start with a win here in Sao Paulo tonight. Now the ball with Olic on the left-hand side. Dangerous ball across. David Luiz came across Jelavic and cleared it away. But again, Olic there with the delivery.
No, the carrier threat, you've got to say. Listen, Brazil are probably, if we look at the percentage, it'll probably be 60-40, even maybe it's a bit more. But Croatia have got players, good players, and they carry a threat.
And the throw-in is taken back to Rakitic. And this good spell for Croatia continues. Ball played out towards the left-hand side, where it's taken down by Versailles. It just popped out of play for a throw-in to the Croatians. And first change is going to be made very shortly. The action down below, and it is Croatia actually who will make that change. And it is Brozovic who's going to come onto the field for his second cap. And if you weren't listening earlier, the reason for the laughter in my voice is the fact that we were told that Brozovic was going to start the game initially, but that proved to be erroneous. But he is going to come on for his second cap. So all of that information that we gave about him earlier didn't go to waste. Brazil bringing it forward from the back. And now a miscontrol from Oscar, and that has gone down like a lead balloon amongst the rather frustrated supporters of Brazil. And the change will see Kovacic make way for Brozovic. Marcelo Brozovic, who is just 21 years old, plays for Dinamo Zagreb, who won the Croatian title again this season for the 9th year in a row. And he has great things expected of him, Brozovic, and here he comes to win in only his second cap in this game of games.
Well, it'll be interesting the way he plays, because I think he's quite offensive as well, isn't he? And he's got maybe a little bit of injection of pace, which he can. Let's think he's going to put himself about now. He's got his chance here, and if he plays well, he'll keep his shirt. There's no doubt about that. So it's a good opportunity for him, and it's a good spell to come on because Croatia are playing well.
Brazil 1, Croatia 1, and Neymar did well there to nick it away from Oscar and then gets it back, but Oscar's pass was slightly behind Neymar and he had to readjust and did really well to keep it and play it back into his own half. Now here's Marcelo on the left hand side. Marcelo forward towards Neymar, but this time the control not good enough, and it breaks down with Neymar and Croatia come forward. Here is Jelavic, sweeps the ball away out towards the left-hand side to Olic. He is the focal point always, Olic now it seems. They know that he's causing problems for Brazil, and Dani Alves, Olic on that left-hand side. And then the ball bounces out of play for what is given as a throw Croatia's way. 15 yards inside the Brazilian half. This is very interestingly poised at the moment.
It is, you're just waiting for a mistake or a little bit of brilliance. But Croatia are getting a lot more time on the ball. They never had that first half.
Modric takes it on meaningfully and purposefully towards the edge of the area. Perisic back to Modric. There is danger really in this Croatia side almost everywhere you look from a Brazilian point of view. Don't underestimate them. If Croatia do get something from this game, you know, as the ball is played through, but Brozovic took his eye off the ball for his first touch at this World Cup, and that meant Brazil were able to clear. And Brazil are also going to make their first change, and it is Hernanes who will come on into the midfield, the Inter player. So after Niko Kovac, the Croatia coach, made a change in midfield, Scolari is going to do the same just a few moments later, and it is Paulinho who's coming off. Paulinho.
Yep, I don't think he needs as many defensive players in there. He needs a bit of energy, and they need to get the ball forward a bit more, play with a bit pace about them. We played very slow second half. Neymar's come off the pace as well.
So on comes Hernanes, and Paulinho is off. Free kick to Croatia on the right. It's taken in from the right-hand side by Serna, but the referee's whistle goes for some pushing in there, and it's a free kick to Brazil. So 1-1 the score. And we've got just under half an hour to play. And Brazil bringing it forward on the right-hand side. Back it goes towards Thiago Silva, who hits a long, very ambitious pass there, which sails away over the head of Neymar and bounces out for a goal kick.
Well, they've just lost the rhythm, Brazil, haven't they? They've come out second half and you thought, yeah, we go again, they're going to up at the tempo and go to this goal, and they've just come really off the pace, and Croatia's getting all the ball now and they're running out of ideas.
So it is a goal kick to Croatia, and this is a rather uncomfortable time for Brazil just at the moment. It's played forward for Luis Gustavo, but Hulk with a heavy touch. Then Marcelo is fouled yet again. He must be the most fouled player on the pitch in this game.
He's very skillful for a left back, isn't he? He does take people on, and when he runs the ball, people do take him out. He's just one of them players.
Free kick taken by Brazil. Forward it goes. Perisic though has it, and now it's Modric who takes it on again. Modric just scampers away from Marcelo and then plays it to the left-hand side, and Versalico, the left back, looks for a 1-2 with Olic, gets it back. Versalico now, Thiago Silva has gone out there, and Versalico plays it back to Rakitic near the halfway line. Rakitic looks up, then plays it right-footed, a pinging pass out towards Cerna, who takes it down, but this time the covering challenge comes in from Hulk, who does well actually against Cerna and plays it forward. But Croatia tidy up at the back, but Rakitic has lost out to Neymar, and Neymar brings it forward now, and that's a heavy challenge there by Chorluka, who might have taken a bit of the ball, but he took an awful lot of Neymar, and it's a yellow card, and I can understand why.
Well, Chorluka gets a yellow card, and he was the one who caused the problem. They had some good possession. Cerna loses it. Chorluka's just got to play a simple 5-10 yard pass. He doesn't, it's sloppy. Neymar picks it up, and then he runs about and takes him out, which is going to get himself a yellow card, and they've put Croatia in a very dangerous position. 25 yards.
Just wondering if he, as I said, where he did just get a little bit of the ball, Chorluka, as he came in, I'm not sure if he did or not, but he certainly took out Neymar, both legs, slides underneath him, and it's a free kick to Neymar. So Brazil 1, Croatia 1, and a free kick now. And as I mentioned in the first half, I thoroughly enjoyed that 15 minutes or so watching the Brazilians take free kicks against no defence at all. They had one of those wooden walls in place, but they were bending them in from all directions. And this time the contenders are Dani Alves, David Luiz and Neymar. And the white line has been sprayed onto the pitch by the referee, and it is approximately a yard outside the penalty area. The free kick itself, and there's also a little piece of spray to make sure that the Brazilians can't move the ball from where it's supposed to be taken to. And now this free kick, 25 yards or more. It's Dani Alves who will take it, and it whizzes over the top of the crossbar. Pleticosa put his arms up, but knew that they wouldn't be required. So 1-1, Brazil 1, Croatia 1. In terms of joining us after the match, 0500 909 693. By the way, you can also share your views by using our hashtag at this World Cup, which is hashtag BBC World Cup, or the 5 Live Facebook account as well, and potential talking points. How are we going to assess Brazil after this, even though we've got plenty of time to play yet? Are there concerns for Scolari? Are they as good as people believe? Well, we're going to see little Bernard coming on very shortly as well, who plays in Ukraine for Shakhtar Donetsk, so I'm sure he's got a tale to tell from the season that has just finished, and he will come onto the field. So one of those front four is going to give way. Who's it going to be, Chris?
I'm going for Hulk.
I wouldn't be surprised. And Brazil with it on the right-hand side. And then Oscar's cross takes a deflection and it bounces out of play for a throw-in that Oscar himself will take. But the change is going to be made first. And Chris, you're absolutely spot on. It is Hulk who makes way. Just while the substitution takes place, let's bring in Julio Gomez, who we're very pleased to have with us tonight, the editor of the BBC's Brazilian section. What are you thinking at the moment, Julio?
Croatia took control of the midfield during the second half with Modric and Rakitic playing together, and that's why I think Scolari decided to take Paulinho off the pitch. Paulinho and Hulk played very bad, very poor match, and Scolari didn't take a second to replace them. I think it's the right decision.
Very good, thank you. Julio Gomez, the ball out of play on the halfway line. No one from Julio as well in the latter stages of Five Live Sport tonight. 1-1 the score. Brazil 1, Croatia 1. And Bernard has gone, Chris, out with the left-hand side here.
Yeah, he start out there, and he needs the ball because he is very tricky, small but clever, tricky, and he needs to get the ball to his feet.
I'm sure it'll have put a smile on many people's faces, the fact that Brazil have Fred and Bernard in the team. Ball into the middle now towards Fred, who goes down, and it's a penalty. Well, Fred went down. Whether there was a tug on the shirt, I'm not sure. Yellow card comes out from the referee. Croatia are furious about this, but Brazil have a penalty for a tug on Fred, and still the Croatian players are surrounding the referee. It's Lovren, I think, who's been yellow carded. He was the one who tugged Fred, but how much of a tug it was, well, we're going to see the replay now. And Fred, dear me, there was not much of a contact there from... There was the tiniest little hand on Fred's arm, who went straight to ground.
No, the referee should miss the next few games, not the player. That's terrible, absolutely terrible from the referee. Poor decision, very, very, very poor.
Well, there is absolutely no chance that the contact there was between Lovren and Fred caused a reaction like that from Fred. It was a dive. You know, it's a blatant dive, and he's won a penalty. And now Neymar has a chance from the penalty spot. Now, let me tell you that Brazil's recent penalty record is not great. So there's a bit of pressure on this one, despite all of the other pressure. So Neymar. Brazil were 1-0 down in this game. Neymar equalised in the first half. And now, from a very dubious penalty call, Neymar from 12 yards against Pleticosa. Flashbulbs are going off all around the ground. This to put Brazil in front, and it falls to the little number 10 Neymar, who's waiting, hands on his hips, one foot slightly in front of the other, just moves to his left and begins his run up. There's a hesitation, still going, and shoots, and Pleticosa got a hand to it but couldn't keep it out. The ball's in the net. Pleticosa puts his hands to his head, dives to his right, got a good hand to it, but couldn't deflect it wide, and the ball is in. Brazil celebrate. Neymar is mobbed. He scored his second goal of the game. It's from the penalty spot, and Brazil now, from being behind in the opening match, are in front. It's Brazil 2, Croatia 1.
Well, Pleticosa, for me, he'd be disappointed he didn't save that. That's 2 he should have saved from Neymar tonight. He scored both goals. Should have saved the one first half, and he's got a good hand. He's gambled right. He went to his right. Neymar had that little stop in his run-up. He gets good contact, but I've got to say, Pleticosa, he guesses right. He's there. He's got his hands there. Not strong enough. Pushes it into side net. That's a good. He should save that, and that would have been justice, because that was never in a million years a pen.
But Brazil are in front, and really, they've taken the lead after their poorest period of play in the game. They are very fortunate in so many ways.
Yep, definitely. Croatia are playing very well, and you can see why they're upset, and you see why they circled the referee. I don't know why he gave that. I just couldn't see why.
Brazil 2, Croatia 1. And now the ball from Perisic into the middle. It's come off David Luiz, and that could have gone anywhere. It went over the bar by 2 or 3 yards. But Luiz was at full stretch there, and that could have been a second own goal.
Could have easily been. Wonderful move by Croatia. Good response from them.
Yeah, well, you know, they've got a cause now here, Croatia, as well as everything else. And sometimes that's a very difficult thing to play against, a very dangerous thing to play against. Rakitic with the corner. It's a deep one, and it's headed by Lovren, and it bounced, I think, under the defender Thiago Silva and back onto Lovren and behind for a goal kick to Brazil. But now there is a much more buoyant atmosphere around the ground. But listen, you know, Brazilian football supporters know their football, and they're not going to be fooled by this, are they?
No, listen, I'll be disappointed. A win's a win, they'll probably say, which is in football, which you take. But if it stays like this, you've got to say then Croatia are hardly done by, because that was never a penalty. I'm sorry. No, some you'll say, yes, there was a bit of tugging, and there was this. There was nothing in that.
Well, it is one of the things. It was one of FIFA's things that they didn't want this World Cup to be marred, to be spoiled by diving. And yet in the opening game here, this great set-piece occasion, we have seen, Chris, a blatant dive by Fred to win a penalty that could propel them towards winning the game.
That's, you know, the talk about improving the game, and you don't want to stop and look at the camera and everything, but incidents like that would have took 3 seconds to clear up. Not the goal line technology as much, things like that which annoys people.
And the referee will know it, you know, because of the reaction from the Croatian players, the way that they surrounded him. You know, and it may well be that Croatia have action taken against them because of that as well, the fact that the players surrounded the referee. But I think the referee will know that he did not get that one right, or at least, you know, let's be a little fair to him, that he was conned by Fred.
No, but at the end of the day, if you're in doubt, John, you've got to be strong and say he should have went to Fred and said, look, I may book you, I may not, but don't do that again. I'm next time in the book, I am going to book you. You know, at the end of the day, Croatia's really had to set the stores. Oh, there's a yellow card there.
Yeah, Rakitic has just
that is a
caught.
yellow card. Now he's running across now.
Well, it was Oscar who missed the ball and kicked Rakitic. And Oscar, who knew that he was in danger of getting a yellow card, has stayed down and rolled around, and he's not been yellow carded. So it's a free kick to Croatia. Well, they've got to come back now, Croatia, from 2-1 down, having led in the first half for all of 17 minutes. 17 great minutes for Croatia to think that they could perhaps even beat Brazil here against all the odds. But now Brazil in front, and Bernard has won it back from Cerna, and Bernard does well actually as Croatian players arrive on the scene to work a little pass back to Hernanes, and now to the left hand side where Hernanes crosses and it bounces off Cerna and behind for a Brazilian corner for the left hand side.
Well, Croatia's just got to keep going. There's enough space out there. For all Brazil are winning, Croatia's played very well second half. Got a lot of the ball, dictated the pace of the game, really.
Yeah, 15 minutes to go, just under that. Brazil 2, Croatia 1. And a corner that Neymar will take. A corner which will be an in-swinger with his right foot. Here he comes to deliver it. In fact, he plays it back to Bernard, who controls it and gives it back to Neymar. Bernard went a little overlap there, but pulled the brakes on, and now Bernard pokes it back to Marcelo, who's on his left foot, but plays it across towards the right-hand side to Oscar. Croatia have got everyone behind the ball at the moment. Oscar takes it round his man. That's a good-looking toss from Oscar. David Luiz with a stretching header, but he couldn't direct it on target. It's wide. And David Luiz himself ended up in the back of the net, but not the ball.
I tell you what a delivery. Oscar's done well on that right wing. I'd say he goes past people very, very well. I don't think the full-back's the greatest, but if he just misses it, the guy coming in behind, I can't see who it is. It's Neymar, isn't it? That would have been a hat-trick for him. If he just misses it, Neymar's on his own. He's got a free header coming at the far post, look.
And he's actually, David Luiz, when he's got up there, he's actually gone to Neymar in the knowledge that could have been an opening game hat-trick for Neymar. But it remains 2-1. So Neymar with two of the goals after the Marcelo own goal gave Croatia an early lead in the 11th minute. There was an awful lot of talk yesterday when Neymar and Scolari spoke to the media about the fact that no Brazilian number 10 had scored a goal at a World Cup since Ronaldinho did against David Seaman all those years ago in 2002. So that was something that they were baying for, and they've got it tonight. But perhaps not quite in the manner that they would have expected. Croatia are going to make another change very shortly, and it's going to be Rebic, who is a winger, who's going to come on, but piece of poor control there by Brozovic, and the ball is out of play, and that's Jelovic's night finished. Well, Rebic, I think, can play up front as well. Another youngster, another of Croatia's promising youngsters. He's only 20 years old, and he comes onto the field now and takes up a position over on the left-hand side, actually. So it looks as though Olic is probably going to take the position furthest forward. He is. But now here's Perisic on the right-hand side, but challenge came in on him from David Luiz, took the pace off the cross, and Julio Cesar was able to take it. So Brazil winning 2-1 here on 5 Live, as Brazil now with Neymar. Neymar away from Perisic, and Neymar moving infield now, and Neymar plays a ball which is straight at Lovren, who's able to shovel it away with his right foot. Chris?
Well, it was a good run by Neymar, change of pace, wasn't it? I thought he should have went himself there. He's tried to toe poke one through a gap which was very tight, and his ability when he was in full flow there could easily went through himself.
And Jelavic off and Olic up front.
Yep. Well, we know Olic has had a decent game on the left-hand side.
And Brazil making ground down the left-hand side. And I think Neymar has won a corner there.
No, it's a goal kick, isn't it? No, he's
Brazil coming forward.
The corner, he's given the corner.
Neymar has just taken a little bang there as well, which a nation holds its breath. Is Neymar okay? He's hobbling back onto the field now, and Bernard has actually come across to recover the ball from in amongst the hundreds and hundreds of photographers that are here inside the ground. I think he's okay, Neymar. You just wonder about the old metatarsal when you see a reaction like that. Bernard plays the corner in, and it took a flick off ahead at the near post. Choluka, I think it was, and that could have gone anywhere. We could have had another own goal, but in fact it's out of play for a throw in near the corner flag.
Well, I think it's Fred who just glances it. It does come up to it, but they give the throw in to Croatia.
They have, yeah. So it's a throw into Croatia over on the left-hand side. Well, we've got just over 10 minutes to go, and it's been an entertaining evening, Chris. Many times over the years the opening game has not lived up to any expectations, but this certainly has not been one of them. There's been many talking points and controversy now as well, with that penalty that was awarded to Brazil for the dive by Fred. And that, of course, will be a talking point for you on 5 Live after the end of this game on 0500 909 693. What on earth are they going to do to try and stamp it out? Can they stamp it out? Ball's out of play for a throw-in to Croatia on the far side. And Scolari still has a couple of substitutions up his... one substitution up his sleeve if he wanted to use it. But they are winning this game, and I think from Scolari's point of view, whatever sort of win will probably do at this stage. Here is Bernard to Marcelo. Marcelo plays it out towards the right-hand side, but Salico goes across, just gets his head to it to steer it out of play for a throw-in out on the right-hand side. And next to a group of spectators who are dressed all in white over there, very much stand out in amongst all of the yellow. Brazilian 1-2 breaks down on the edge of the box, and Croatia clear it downfield. And David Luiz is in splendid isolation there. He's got no one of either team within probably 40 yards of it. But now across comes Brozovic, forward from David Luiz. Croatia played up towards Olic, just a little flick off from him. Then it's hit forward downfield by Cerna, but this time the defensive job is done for Brazil by Luis Gustavo, who turns it back to Julio Cesar. I know what Scolari will say after this game if they do hold out for the victory, because he spoke about it last night, about how this is a case of 7 steps for Brazil, and they just need to get through one step after another. And here is Neymar now towards the edge of the penalty area. Neymar forced a little wide there. Bernard is near at hand, so is Marcelo. Neymar does well to find Bernard, and then Marcelo just missed his kick there, and Marcelo blatantly tries to win a free kick. And this time the referee does not give it, and Croatia will pass it away from the back. Perisic now. There's virtually rugby tackle by Bernard, but he's still going Perisic. Moving infield. The referee has played advantage here. He knows he was fouled there. With Croatia coming forward, with Versalico on the left-hand side. Croatia have 4 players near the edge of the penalty area. Rakitic now. Rakitic takes it on. Looks for the 1-2. Well, Rakitic must have been blocked there. Play does continue. It's swung over towards the back post and bounces down. Here's a chance. It's turned into the net, but the flag is up. The flag is up and the goal will not stand. And Croatia are again going to the referee here. Well, that was very odd. The flag went up there.
I've got to say, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Why is he fouled on the foul there? He's headed it. He's dropped it.
Was that given for a foul by Olic?
Yes.
On Julio Cesar?
Yeah. Look, he's headed it. He's not touched him.
Well, that again is very questionable. If indeed that was what it was, I think it was.
It was, yes, it was. Yeah. He's taken the free kick from that spot.
Yeah. So Brazil still lead Croatia by 2 goals to 1. but this now very much falls into the category of unconvincing win, if it is to be a win. 3 commentaries to come tomorrow. 5 o'clock UK time for the first one. Mexico against Cameroon, and then Spain against the Netherlands, which will get underway at 8 o'clock. But all 3 matches tomorrow here on 5 Live. Here's Oscar. Oscar now to the right, then back towards the halfway line. And now Luis Gustavo. And Brazil now just content to keep possession, with just over 6 minutes plus added time to play before they win their opening match at this World Cup. But Croatia coming forward again, dangerously. The ball out on the left-hand side. Olic waiting in the middle. Ribic is out there. Ribic is challenged and the ball runs away. Out of play. It's Croatia's ball. And Rakitic is quickly across there, or at least as quickly as the conditions will allow. I mean, we've got nothing like the humidity down here in the southeast of Brazil that they have now that England are up in Manaus. Nothing like it. It's actually a really good evening for football. And it's a corner. Rakitic plays into the near post. A glancing header took it right across the penalty area. And Lovren there was stretching for it. Almost fell over in his desperation to get it. But he has managed to pick up possession here on the right-hand side. And the central defender tried to play it past, and then is adjudged to have fouled, and it's a free kick to Brazil, and there'll be no hurry to take this.
No, there'll be no rush for them to take this free kick. And give Croatia credit, they've had a good go. They played very well second half, and that last goal, just seeing another replay of it, which should have been an equaliser, I've got to say, for Croatia. The referee gave a free kick. So they'll feel hardly done by it, especially about the decision on the pen. It was absolutely ridiculous, and it's cost them.
Over the 90 minutes, Chris, or the 85 minutes that we've had so far, Croatia merit a draw from this, do you think? Or Brazil?
Brazil's had more chances, they've had more possession. But I've got to say, I think Croatia... Oh, what a ball.
What a pass that is towards the edge of the penalty area to Ribic, but it bounced off him and Brazil are able to clear it away. But a dangerous run from Ribic in from the left-hand side. It's out of play for a throw to Croatia.
I think Croatia's played well second. I think they sat back first half, carried the odd threat, but Brazil had more ball, probably more chances.
Here's Modric, who's going to shoot from 30 yards. Took a little deflection. Julio Cesar had to get down to his right and push it away, and he did. And then David Luiz head across, quite literally, hair everywhere, and cleared it out of play on the halfway line.
I've got to say, Cesar for me doesn't look very sharp. It's a slight deflection, but that should have been a real comfortable save. He could have caught that.
And we have 4 minutes to play plus added time, and Croatia coming forward again. There are some hearts and mouths in Brazil watching this, I'm sure. And now Luis Gustavo is just to have been fouled, and it's a free kick to Brazil inside their own penalty area. Really anxious, nervy. It'll be really interesting to hear what the Brazilians who we've been speaking to have got to say about this night. And the first among them that you'll hear, I'm sure, will be Julio, who will be on with Mark at the end of the match. Free kick. Brazil still haven't taken it. If you haven't picked up on this, by the way, a couple of programmes that you must listen to on 5 Live during the course of the World Cup. The Rio Report at 1:30 every afternoon, and at 10 p.m. at night, the 5 Live World Cup Social. Do listen to that in between all of our live commentaries. Brazil winning 2-1 here, but it ain't over yet, and it is Brazil with it in centre field. And Brozovic wins it back, and now Perisic has it, and Brazil have to come back, and the play has been brought back for a foul by Luis Gustavo, who's shown a yellow card. So a free kick to Croatia near the centre circle.
Well, I think since they've got that second goal, they've come right off the pace, Brazil, and Croatia, full credit to them, which you expect as well, to try and get back in the game. Have took the game to Brazil and they've caused a lot of problems.
Chelsea's Ramirez is going to be the final man to come on for Brazil here, and he will take the place of Neymar. So that's the end of his evening, and whether that has anything to do with that little knock he seemed to take down by the corner flag. But whatever will be said about Brazil tonight, whether it's unconvincing or perhaps undeserved even, the victory, Neymar came into this game under immense pressure, and even though his second goal was a penalty, he scored 2 goals tonight, and Neymar has delivered.
Well, that's what he said he was going to do, and he wants to win the trophy, yes. And that's what he's about, scoring goals for Brazil.
So Ramirez of Chelsea is on. Free kick, which is played in. And a glancing header is beyond the far post. Well, he got closest to it. It's Choluka, isn't it? who was in there, got his head to it.
That's a guy coming in behind him who has got the free header. Look, if he shouted early, he's just coming in behind him.
Oh, Joe Luca it was, yeah.
Yep.
Joe Luca with a header. And I think one or two of the Croatians have perhaps said there that there was a better option and just pulled Joe Luca away. So it's a goal kick. Brazil 2, Croatia 1. Heading into the closing stages now. Goal kick for Brazil. Right down the middle towards Fred. I think would have to be portrayed tonight as the villain of the piece, Fred. Even though for Brazil, he's the hero because he won the penalty that might well win the game. Forward towards Perisic. Bounces off David Luiz. Might have been tugged back there, David Luiz. It's headed by him to Marcelo. Marcelo just whacks it downfield towards Fred. Here's Bernard. Pulls the bouncing ball down onto the surface of the pitch. Tries to use a trick. Gets a fortunate deflection. But then across came Joe Luca. And Croatia have got it safely at the back. We're in the 90th minute now. If Croatia are going to get anything out of this, they've got to go for it. The fourth official down there is waiting with his electronic board. Perisic plays it infield to Brozovic. Tried to give it back to Perisic, but it was blocked away. Brozovic again, the substitute. Now to the left-hand side to Versalico. Square from him to Modric. Modric now, just over 25 yards out, into the penalty area to Perisic. And then Cerna arriving, but not in time. Bernard was able to nick it out for a throw. Almost 90 minutes played. We'll see the fourth official in a moment. Croatia still pressing for this equaliser. And throw-in taken by Cerna. But it bounces away from Modric, but they've got it back. Modric, little square pass to Perisic. Oh, left foot shot, saved by Julio Cesar. Comes out into the penalty area, and the shot from Brozovic is blocked by a defender, and Brazil survive.
That was a good save, and yeah, they're coming again. Now they've lost position again, but that was a very, very good save this time. I don't think he's looked very sharp tonight, his own goal, but that was a very good save.
So Brazil preserve their 2-1 lead, and now Oscar runs away after Ramirez wins it back. Oscar through the middle, Croatia stretch, Oscar shoots and scores! And again, Pleticosa was late down to that, but the ball's in the net, and Brazil are 3-1 up, and Brazil are heading to victory here in the opening match on home soil in Sao Paulo, and Oscar is mobbed there. It's 3-1. It's not been entirely convincing, not by any means, but a win is a win for Scolari, and it's Brazil 3, Croatia 1.
Well, I've got to say the goalkeeper for Croatia, if they'd had a good goalie in there tonight, they would have probably got a very good result, but for me he's done very, very poorly on 3 goals. Oscar runs through to Topo, again the keeper doesn't react till it's gone, he's on his heels, it just goes past him so easy. And he's cost them today. Listen, Croatia's played well. Give credit to Brazil. They've played pretty well themselves, but the goalkeeper is unfortunately for Croatia.
Well, in years to come, when we look back on this World Cup and have a look at Brazil's results, and we see that Croatia were beaten 3-1 in the opening game, you'll probably think to yourself, well, that must have been comfortable enough. But it's not been. There's been controversy. Brazil have been unconvincing for large parts, but they're winning 3-1, and Oscar has opened his account. So 2 goals from Neymar and 1 from Oscar after Croatia took the lead in this game. It was 4 minutes, by the way, 4 minutes added on. Brazil scoring in added time, that 3rd goal for them, and now the race is run for Croatia, and the fireworks are going off again outside the ground as the ball is brought forward for Croatia. It's on the left-hand side. Rebic. Now the cross comes into the penalty area, but David Luiz is there, and everything now is being cheered that Brazil do. Even David Luiz's clearance under no particular pressure. And Brazil with Bernard up towards Fred. Plays it on for Bernard to continue his run down the left-hand side. If Brazil score again, that would be so cruel on Croatia, but it's blocked out for a throw.
No, well, Croatia's throwing bodies forward now. Brazil are. That's how they got this there. The last goal, Oscar, they picked them off. There's a couple of players, there's a player gone down with cramp for Brazil.
Yep, so we'll have a stoppage here. Deep in added time. 3 of the 4 minutes have been played. And he is hauled to his feet, and in fact it's Oscar, isn't it, who scored the goal. He might have ended up cramped when David Luiz jumped on top of him after he scored that goal. But now everything in the garden is rosy in terms of the result, and everyone knows the outcome now, that Brazil are going to start this World Cup with a victory here. But for a time, for periods, it was by no means certain that would happen. But the songs ringing around this stadium, almost 70,000 people in it. It is an absolute vision in yellow for the most part. But those people up there high in the stand in their red and white check shirts, I think they will be so frustrated at the way that the evening has gone for Croatia. Ball's headed out of play on the far side for a throw-in. Versalico comes up to take it. The 4 minutes are now up, and it is all down now to how long the Japanese referee is going to play over the 4 minutes. And it is Croatia with a shot that fizzes goalwards from Brozovic, but Julio Cesar knew this one was heading over the top. Goal kick.
Well, it's just going to be a strange reaction, isn't it? It's going to be brilliant Brazil, and Brazil this and Brazil that. This is it. They're on the way to win it, and I don't think they've been that convincing. I think they're a good side, but I think they've had a little bit of good fortune, to say the least, tonight.
Yes, they really have. So if you just joined us, well, you've nearly missed it. Croatia took the lead through a Marcelo own goal. Brazil did well enough to come back in the first half, equalised through Neymar. Neymar scored from the penalty spot early in the second, and then a late goal from Oscar made it 3-1 in the end. Brazil 3, Croatia 1. But so much more to talk about, as I'm sure we will do over the course of the remainder of 5 Live Sport this evening. But with the final whistle gone, the Croatian players are going to the referee, and I'm absolutely certain they'll be talking to him about the contentious moment of the evening, the award of the penalty to Brazil when Fred was barely touched by Lovren. Penalty awarded, Neymar scored it, and Brazil were on the way to what has been an opening victory for them, Mark Pugac. Brazil 3, Croatia 1.